We finally got new Green Lantern news. This show is coming out in 2026. We don't have a trailer. We haven't had any news. I feel like the only time we talked about this show is when they announced it. But the creator of the show just did an interview. So we're going to dive into that. And he revealed some interesting things when the show takes place. Some new information about the character. We'll dive into it. We're going to talk about it right now. Alright, so here's the article right here. Lantern's creator Chris Mundy on why Aaron Pierre was the hero he needed. We're gonna skip all the fluff questions and get to the stuff that we really want to talk about, right? But Chris Mundy, let's talk about Chris Mundy for a sec. Chris Mundy is one of the main reasons why I'm excited about this show. This is going to feel different than any of the DCU projects we've had so far. This guy did Ozark. He did True Detective. I haven't seen that show. Criminal Minds. Just think about the vibes of those shows right now. Damon Lindelof, another writer of the show, he did Lost, he did Leftovers, 2 amazing shows. Now, just from that information alone, just from knowing that these 2 men are involved in the creation of the show, it's going to feel different than Superman. It's going to feel different than Creature Commandos. It's going to feel different than Peacemaker. It's not going to have that James Gunn vibe. Hopefully. I'm going to be honest. When Nathan Fillion came out and said that he's dropped more F-bombs in this show than he has done in any other project in his career, I got a little bit worried. But I have faith in Chris Mundy and Damon Lindelof. So let's see what happens. All right, let's dive into this article. The interviewer asked, were you guys looking for a certain kind of interplay between John and Hal that you found in Aaron and Kyle? I mean, I would hope so. These are the 2 guys that are playing the characters. Chris Mundy said, we wanted it to be as much of a buddy cop show as a superhero show. Kyle's character has kind of a throwback Chuck Yeager vibe to him. He's the kind of guy you meet and you don't know whether you like him or you want to punch him. Then there's Aaron, who has a quiet authority about him. That's exactly what I want in a John Steward. I think that's important to their dynamic, to the story we're telling. And literally from day one, Kyle started giving Aaron for being young and experienced. And then Aaron started giving Kyle for being an old man. You'd see it in between takes, too. They'd start messing with each other and would just keep sitting there playing with the dynamic in the best way. And because all the dialogue is supposed to be in a very back and forth style, they were into that rhythm before they even got into those scenes. That's great to hear. Sounds like Aaron and Kyle have that natural relationship already off screen. So on screen, that's going to translate well and lead to a more natural performance, which is fantastic. An essential part of John and Hal's comic lore includes that they butt heads when they first meet. They had different philosophies, different ways of doing things. Is that part of the story you want to tell? Chris Mundy says, Our show is in a lot of ways about replacement. When should someone step aside, and when is it time for the next person to take the reins? So this is pretty much Men in Black, but with Green Lanterns. That push and pull between those 2 characters is really important. It sounds like that dynamic between Kyle and Aaron are perfect for this. It looks like we're definitely going to get that push and pull. So much of the power that John has is by not taking the bait. Understanding that you lose your power if you're yelling and screaming. Perfect, dude. Superman needs to learn this lesson. James Gunn, come listen to this right here. That's what we're trying to convey. That he knows he belongs, so he doesn't have to overcompensate. Come on now. Seriously, Superman. Please, James Gunn. David Cornsweet. David Cornsweet understands the character of Superman more than James Gunn, in my opinion, based off of what I've seen. But dude, please, take some notes. Take some notes right here. There's a real balance there that's just innately inside of Aaron. He's big. He's an intimidating presence physically. But there's a softness to him. There's a thoughtfulness. You can't teach that. All right, we need Chris Mundy on some Superman project. I don't like that James Gunn has a monopoly on the Superman family saga. He did Superman. He's doing Man of Tomorrow. He's not doing Supergirl. So we'll see how that turns out. But we need some of this. We need some of this energy for Superman. Did you give Aaron and Kyle any homework, a comic book syllabus or anything like that? Chris Mundy responds, this is an important question. Everybody did varying degrees of comic book homework on their own. And we, including co-creators Lindelof and Tom King, were there to answer any questions. But we aren't telling one specific chapter that's already existed in comics. Our characters are true to the comics, but we're putting them in a new story. This is exactly what I want to hear. I want the characters to stay true to who they are. You can throw them in whatever story you want, but the character should stay true. Throw them into a comedy, throw them into a horror movie, throw them into like a crime fighter, thriller, suspense, psychological, whatever. The character should be the character. They should stay the same. The tone of the change. You see, we're coming off the DCEU where Superman didn't act like Superman, The Flash didn't act like The Flash, Aquaman didn't act like Aquaman. I mean, characters were not what they were supposed to be. And even with the DCU, James Gunn takes a lot of liberties himself. Peacemaker is not really like that in the comic books, but that's why James Gunn likes these obscure characters, because he can put his own twist, he can put his own spin, he can be more creative with these characters. I mean, he even did it with Superman. I said in my review, he got the heart of the character, but he's not Superman yet. He doesn't act like the mature, calm, composed, collected Superman that we all know. So hearing this from a guy like Chris Mundy, an incredible writer, a guy who knows how to take his characters seriously, doesn't need to throw in one-liners and jokes in order to distract the audience in an emotional sequence, but also doesn't make things overly gritty and dark for no reason, but he makes scenes and emotions feel natural. Hearing something like this, our characters are true to the comics, but we're putting them in a new story. That's exactly what I want to hear. And hopefully that's exactly what we're going to get. Now, here's where things get really interesting and where we can start diving in to some speculation. Was there anything that Aaron did during filming, any choices he made or characterizations he expanded that reinforced for you that this was definitely John Steward? Now listen to how Chris Mundy responded. Our story takes place in a couple of different time periods. Pause right there. The story is taking place in a couple different time periods, so we're going to be jumping around. We need to stop right there. Our story takes place in a couple of different time periods. This is one of, if not our only chance we're going to be seeing Hal Jordan as Green Lantern, because they're definitely moving forward with John Steward Green Lantern in the future, in the Justice League and all of that, right? We got to get flashbacks. This is our only chance. Kyle Chandler's getting old. We got to do this now. We got to get some we need to see Hal Jordan in his prime, right? If we're going to be butting heads between John Steward and Hal Jordan, right? This is the way of this guy's doing things. This is the way of this guy's doing things. You know, back in my day, I did it like this. You're this new young kid and you don't know what you're doing. Here, look, this is how it's done. We need to get flashbacks to Hal Jordan in his prime. This is the time to do it. And now that Chris Mundy is saying that our story is taking place in a couple different time periods, I'm really hoping that's the case. I mean, sure, we'll probably get flashbacks of Aaron Pierre, John Steward, but I need Hal Jordan flashbacks as well. Our story takes place in a couple of different time periods, and so the challenge was for the characters to be consistent at their core. Perfect. John's sort of a different person in one of them than he is in another. And I do think the physicality and magnetism that Aaron brings to the role brought that all together. That theater training, that wanting to be in the minutiae of the work and the craft, it really added to John's character from all sides. So that's interesting. It looks like we're going to get a Green Lantern personality and then, you know, your regular old John Steward personality. How those differences manifest in the performance, we'll have to see, but I'm interested. It added dimension to the more physical side of the role and to the more emotional, creative part of the role. All right, now let's get to the juicy bits. John Steward is known in the comics for manifesting meticulous, intricate constructs, so it makes sense that creativity is an essential factor to the character. Chris Mundy says, one thing we attacked from the very beginning was that the Green Lantern powers, a lot of it is based in creativity. To manifest things from the Green Lantern rings, you've got to manifest something from your brain, but also kind of from your soul. What does that look like? What does it feel like? I imagine it's not much different than being a sculptor or a painter. And Aaron had to be able to sell that John could have that ability. And that's what he did. He understood that John would appreciate that aspect of their powers. We always joke that Hal just wanted to hit everything with a big green fist. Now, you gotta pay attention to the way Chris Mundy laid it out in this paragraph. The way he spoke is as if John Steward already has this innate creativity within himself, without even being Green Lantern. Now, why is that important? I have a feeling we're not going to be getting as much Green Lantern action as we'd want in the show. Notice he said, and Aaron had to be able to sell that John could have that ability. We know from James Gunn, this is an Earth-based, grounded show. He's repeated that this is a grounded show, Earth-based. You have Green Lanterns and they're stuck on Earth. Why are they still on Earth? Why is this an Earth-based show? I think there's a good chance that John Steward and Hal Jordan are going to be stripped of their powers somehow. They're going to lose their rings or something like that. And they're going to focus more on that detective side than the superhero side. I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but don't be surprised if you don't get some green fighter jets flying across the screen with a green baseball bat banging on things all over the show. I'm just saying. Now, I think I actually missed a question, and this is really important. This is about the origins. This is about the origins of this John Steward. So let's check this out here, this question right here. What made Aaron the right person to play John? It's a tricky role because there's a physicality to believing that someone is a superhero. And then there's a physicality to the character of John Steward. He was a Marine sniper, which requires a certain kind of focus and diligence. So, from what I understand, the Marine backstory to John Stewart started in the Justice League animated series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Right off the bat, that makes me happy because I love those shows. Those shows are absolutely fantastic. Literally, if they just take that, put it into live action, I'll be happy. Literally, every DC fan is going to be happy. They're looking to that for his backstory. And if they're looking to that for his backstory, we already have Hawkgirl. That said, I don't like this Hawkgirl dude. Like, look at the Hawkgirl in Justice League, in Justice League Unlimited, Justice League the animated series, and look at the Hawkgirl in Superman. Completely different characters. It's just some teenage girl in a hawk costume, whatever, you know. Like the fiercity, the ferocity, the whole temperament of Hawkgirl in the cartoon show, completely different. Like that's what I want to see. But it is one step closer to me getting Martian Manhunter as a founding member of the Justice League the way it should be. None of this cyborg nonsense, all right? Martian Manhunter needs to be there day one. And if they're modeling this after the Justice League animated series, I mean, Martian Manhunter was there. I mean, he's an integral part. He's the heart of the Justice League. And I hope we get that, man. I really like that team. It's a well-balanced team, you know? It's a well-balanced team. He was a sniper, which requires a certain kind of focus and diligence. After the Marines, he became an architect. So there's an artistic side to him. From what I understand, the original origin story, he was an architect. So they kind of, in the modern telling of the character, they kind of blended the two origin stories to create this new thing, which I do enjoy. I like that. That's a cool idea. Because it's like two halves to the John Stewart character. You have the creative side, but then you have the really strict, disciplined military side to him. And I feel like those two aspects are awesome for the character of John Stewart. After the Marines, he became an architect, so there's an artistic side to him. Those are a lot of elements that an actor has got to be able to project. And Aaron is someone who understands that physicality as a trained theater actor. We talked a lot about how being a Marine is John's job, but it's not his entire personality. And there we go. We talked about that, right? That duality between the John Stewart and the Green Lantern personas. He's as much an artist as he is a Marine. I really like that. That's really cool. There's a real balance of the physical and the artistic that's just innately inside of Aaron. And I think it's essential. If we're doing our jobs as writers, we're not stating all this stuff out loud. James Gunn, please read this interview. Go have a talk with Chris Mundy, man. Everything doesn't need to be on the nose with your characters. Overacting and just the expressions. if we're doing our jobs well as writers, we're not stating all this stuff out loud. Your audience is intelligent. They can pick things up. Let there be some nuance, some subtlety, man, with the acting, with the writing. We're trusting that our actors can fulfill that role. You don't need Superman screaming that's what makes me human. You don't need to do that. You don't need Clark Kent throwing his head back, groaning, standing up and screaming in a conversation with Lois Lane to show that he's frustrated, that he's emotional. You don't need Superman pouring out his emotions to Lex Luthor to get the message across. I thought you were a big fan of Smallville, James Gunn. I've been watching Smallville again recently, and you got a high school Clark Kent able to control his emotions and convey things. The writing, Jonathan Kent in that show, dude, best Jonathan Kent ever, best Lex Luthor ever. Chloe Sullivan, awesome character. That show was fantastic, dude. All right, let's get back to this. There's a real balance in physicality and the artistic that's just innately inside of Aaron, and I think it's essential. It is. Sounds like we've got great casting here. If we're doing our jobs well as writers, we're not stating all of this stuff out loud. We're trusting that our actors can fulfill that role. But see, you need good, excellent directing with that. You need excellent directing. You need to know how to bring that out of your actor. The audience has to believe, especially if the actor is new, okay? And David Corenswet is relatively new. Aaron Pierre, from what I understand, I haven't seen him in anything. He's relatively new, but you need to be able to bring these performances out of the actors. Okay. The audience has to believe that he could take a guy down with one punch, and also believe that he could sketch intricate portraits of his family and birds and all of these beautiful things. Dude, man, I mean, come on. I mean, you already know Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof. We're in good hands here. This show is in good. Let's look at the photos. This show is in good hands here, man. I'm excited about this show. As it stands, this is going to be the best project that comes out of the DCU. Out of the stuff that we know so far, this is the best project. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be the best thing. I'm calling it right now. We already got this set photo. You see the logo there. It's pretty tiny. More set photos. And here, we got John Steward with a gun. Okay? We got John Steward with a gun. This might be a flashback, or it could substantiate the theory that they're gonna be stripped of their powers in some way. We'll find out when the show comes out. But man, I am looking forward to this show. This show is gonna be fantastic. I think we got great casting here. Hopefully we got great writing. I mean, with the people involved, we're going to have excellent writing. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays into the rest of the DCU. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it sucks to the people who want Hal Jordan as the mainline Green Lantern of the DCU, but I mean, I'm a John Steward guy, so I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, man, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What did you guys think about this? What did you guys think about everything that we learned in this interview with Chris Mundy? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.